Hey, what's up, guys? Jazz Roganzo here. Another episode of What's Next? Yes. We are going to cover a multitude of stories in rapid mode, and I won't go too much into each one of them in the beginning, but I definitely will give you my take. Let's take a look. Story number 1. This comes out of Breitbart. Top U.S. military officers' defense of critical race theory, racism, to understand white rage stokes controversy. Nah, really? The top U.S. military officer in the United States and President Joe Biden's military advisor, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Army General Mark Milley, is stoking controversy on the right and left as he defended studying critical race theory as a way to understand white rage during a House hearing on Wednesday. Milley asked to respond to Republican lawmakers' criticism of critical race theory being taught in the military caused shockwaves throughout the political world that were still reverberating, the next day, when he defended it and tied white rage to the January 6th incident. Yes, the January 6th incident that's still being talked about, the absolute clownery, and just like Russia, the Dems just can't let it go. Quote, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is, but I do think it's important actually for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read in the United States Military Academy is a university and is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage. I'm white and I want to understand it. So what is the cause? So what is that cost thousands of people to assault this building? It wasn't thousands of people. It was what? 40, 50 people dressed like Chewbacca? I know. I want to keep my thoughts to the end, but it's so hard. To try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America, what caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind. And I do want to analyze it. It is important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. Woke. Milley's remarks prompted surprise since active duty members of the military have historically stayed apolitical, and his remarks put him in the center of a heated political debate on critical racist theory. This comes out of the Blaze. Transgender runner found to be ineligible for Olympic trials for women's track. Yes. Call me ma'am. No track for you. Transgender runner CC Telfer just got word that this year's Olympics are not on the cards, having been ruled ineligible to compete in the 400-meter hurdles for not meeting the World Athletics regulation for eligibility, the Associated Press reported Wednesday night. Who is this? Telfer, who was born a male, still is best known for easily winning the women's NCAA Division II 400-meter hurdles in 2019. Really? Did you have any doubt? I know. Stop it, Jazz Bro. The runner, formerly known as Craig, still is, competed on the Franklin Pierce University track meeting just a year earlier before taking a break and transitioning to a female. Telfer was considered an above-average male hurdler, Total Boy Sports said, but with the women's hurdles being lower, the athlete was soon dominating women's competition. Though the NCAA has a policy that requires male to suppress testosterone levels for a full year before competing in women's events, don't know how that's a law or a rule, but clownery, the league declared that it is not accurate to merely assume that a male who has been transitioned to a female has an unfair advantage over a female. Telford agrees with the NCAA's logic and told ESPN, quote, if anything, me competing against women is a disadvantage. Clearly admits to it. Outkick. Jaylen Rose is mad because a white player made the USA Olympic team. Says NBA won't send an all-black team. At ESPN, skin color is all that matters. It's all that executives see, all the hosts can build segments around. Less than 24 hours after ESPN's Jay Williams inaccurately said it took the Boston Celtics 75 years to hire a head coach of color. Wrong. His colleague, Jaylen Rose, doubled down on the false claim that the NBA is afraid to send an all-black team to the Olympics. Rose admits he's quite bothered that Kevin Love made the USA team, calling Love a token. Kevin Love is on a team because of tokenism, Rose complained. Don't be scared to make an all-black team representing the United States of America. I'm disappointed by that. Like Williams, the day before, Stephen A. Smith used to have respect for a month ago, and Mark Jones every damn day. Rose was so anxious to claim that sports discriminates against black people that he failed to cite factual information. 2016, the most recent Summer Olympic event, there was an all-black team that represented the United States. So much for diversity and inclusion. In reality, Jaylen Rose is distraught that a white player made the team. When the left speaks of, quote, inclusion, they really mean exclusion. They aren't trying to include all groups. Instead, they are trying to exclude groups, usually white men. Look at ESPN's latest contract negotiations. This comes out of Bounding into Comics. Comedian and podcaster Joe Rogan slams Hollywood actors claiming that their insecurities lead them to push woke agendas in order to land acting gigs. Comedian, actor, former UFC fighter, and podcaster Joe Rogan has recently shared his opinion about Hollywood actors, believing that the reason behind their left-leaning policies lies behind their own insecurities and fear of rejection. Rogan particularly believes that most Hollywood actors tend to blindly push the left-leaning agendas in order to land acting roles, sharing some of his own experiences as an actor. Let's play this little clip.
Most people are bitter, and most people are weirded out, and they adopt these liberal sensibilities and ideologies, and they don't necessarily do it because they thought these things through. I mean, occasionally you got your Mark Ruffalo type characters really all in on a lot of things, but most of them are not. Most of them are just nonsense people, and those nonsense people will get on stage and they'll say, like at the Academy Awards or at the Grammys, they'll talk about, this is what we have to do. We have to make sure that we support this and that, and it's fucking horseshit. And so,
all right, and he's absolutely right. Quote, this is the problem with not just Hollywood, but with Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is inexorably connected to show business, Rogan said during a recent interview with Breaking Points. He continued, there's no getting around it. It is the reason why a large percentage of people move there, and it also massively affects the politics of the place. Adding, not just politics, but social discussions, mentioning that the way that people communicate is disingenuous. Quote, you want to say that people are going to want to hear because that's the way they're going to cast you. The way the system works, you go there, then you go into a room, and someone will come in and say, hey, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you move from? Rogan illustrated. And there's a smugness to it and a weirdness to it because they've got power over you. My thoughts. Woo! Where do I begin with all this? Regarding story number one, regarding our military, the fact of the matter is that when you have the most powerful man in the military, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Miley, for him to concede that, yes, I do read these things like Mao and Marx and Lenin, doesn't make me a communist. You're right, it doesn't make you a communist. Does it broaden your perspective? Yes, it does, on how socialism and communism has destroyed nations. But when you are basically saying, well, I need to dig deeper regarding my own whiteness, That's a problem. That is a problem. And when you social experiment, and Republicans were able to stand up to it when Obama tried doing this nonsense during his reign, and yet they have gotten quiet, they've gotten silent, they've gotten stupid when it comes to this. Critical race theory is garbage. Systematic racism, garbage. 1619 Project, garbage. White fragility, garbage. That is what that is. The second story, in regards to the trans athlete that has been banned from the Olympics. What happened to the weightlifter? Why wasn't he banned from the Olympics? Or the BMXer, Wolf? Why wasn't he banned from the Olympics? If you're going to do one, you might as well do them all, because then you have context. Now you, as the Olympic body, can say, well, you know, this guy can't be in the track and field. This guy can't be in weightlifting. This guy can't be in BMX. This guy can't be in swimming. I forgot the guy who's, pretending to be in the women's competition regarding swimming. But this is clownery. When you are denying facts and science, you are a clown. And the U.S. Olympic trials, the U.S. Olympic body can no longer be taken seriously. The world body of the Olympics should be stepping in and saying, you know what? Yeah, we're not going to have any trannies. Sorry, it's not happening. It's not happening. But they don't have the balls to, because it's not politically correct, because we're all talking about inclusion and diversity. Bullshit. That's what that is. Regarding the next story. When you are talking about this nonsense that goes on at ESPN, and ESPN is all about being woke. It's all about, when you had the new president that came into ESPN, what was it, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, who came in and was supposed to clean house, was supposed to wipe the slate clean when it came to the wokeness bullshit that was infiltrating, because of a couple knuckleheads at ESPN who were no longer there, who got fired because of being woke. But yet, look at you now. You got Stephen A. Smith. You got Max, I forgot, what's his face? You got Mark Jones. Jaylen Rose. Jaylen Rose, come on. The guy's been there forever, and then all of a sudden now he gets offended over nonsense, over falsities, because he didn't do his damn homework when it comes to facts regarding the 2016 Olympic team, which was all black. Oops, I forgot that. Why? Because back then it wasn't considered woke. It wasn't considered inclusion. Now it is. To me, that's an insult. And if I am the lone white player on that team, I'm feeling insulted, because now you're right. Now you do feel like the token. If you're Mr. Love, you feel like a token because of all this nonsensical garbage that's being spewed all over the place. To me, I would be like, if you don't want me here, fine. Peace out. I would just leave. But what are you going to do? And last but not least, when it comes to Joe Rogan, he is absolutely 1,000% correct when it comes to the nonsense, the liberal mentality, the brain-damaged mentality, the mental illness of wokeism in Hollywood to land a gig, to land an acting job. Because if you don't think the right way, if your narrative is not in line with Hollywoke, you will not get a job. Or if you have done spots and you're looking for that major jump, say into a Marvel movie, or into some other movie, or into a big time TV show that you can land that gig to, and then it turns out where you have a differing opinion, Gina Carano, you will not get a job, or you will be fired. And that's the pathetic state that we're living in right now. Had to cover a lot. Woo! I'm Jazz Broganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you do not miss a thing, peeps. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.